I guess I'll introduce myself too. I'm Braxton Parrott. I finished up my IT degree at Tech last year, I think, and I've had two IT related internships, and I currently work at the school at one. Um, right now, half of my job is tending to like the the labs on the third floor of the MCOM building, which are it's just like IMEC labs for classes and stuff. And then also part of that half is just general IT stuff. Like if graduate students need help with their printer or something, I go to their floor and work on their printer, help them with programs that are installed on their computers, stuff like that, general IT stuff. Then the other half, um, I work downstairs in the esports lab, and that's probably what I enjoy about the job most is because I like video games. So if I can combine video games with, IT, then it's enjoyable.
Yeah, that's quite ideal. You said you had two other internship experiences. Did you have,
One, yes.
or one other than this? So,
Yeah.
did you have any like notable experiences or things you enjoyed from doing that?
Yeah, that was kind of my first actual job. I did a summer internship at Taiga in Abilene. It's like a sport boat manufacturer, and the IT situation there was that they had one guy working IT for the entire company,
Hmm.
and what I did was basically just like shadow him, and so I learned a lot about more hands-on work that I did at Tech because Tech really their focus is on IT in a business setting, like how IT mixes with business, like enterprise resource planning type stuff,
Yeah.
databases, that kind of stuff. So at this internship, I was taught more like hands-on technical skills, um, like pertaining to like server management or like system upkeep, so like inventory management when it comes to like computers and all that stuff, uh, deploying systems, mass
Hmm.
deploying systems, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
getting more experience with that side of things was pretty nice. And then towards like the later half of my internship, um, I got to get some experience with a new hire that the company hired to manage their enterprise resource planning system, their ERP system, which is basically just an interface for their database. And I was able to like write certain functions and code or programs within that system
Okay,
because
so you had to do a lot of like physical, like IT work, but also like software based.
yeah, but the majority for that internship was hardware based, I'd say. But I really liked the software based stuff too.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually pretty awesome. And I do like I'm into games and whatnot as well. So I think combining the IT, something you relatively enjoy, along with games, like I think that resonance actually is really nice. Um, so you sort of answered this, but your favorite part of working where you do currently?
Yeah, I mean to like add on to it because it's part of the school, I get more leniency when it comes to studying and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, if we're looking at it at just simply a job and the duties that I have to do on the job without any like taking into consideration perks, yeah, I just like being around. I don't know, gaming PCs and being involved with that crowd. I guess.
Those are some impressive PCs in that lab. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
they're pretty decked out, but it doesn't. I don't know. Um, that whole place, I think they have me working there because I have IT experience, but I also am like sort of like okay, game savvy. Like say
Hmm.
for example, if someone comes in and they ask if they can run an emulator on one of those computers, I then know, and if they want to run an emulator, they have to get like a ripped game file via like a ROM downloading website, and that's like a legal gray zone. So I know, yeah, it's probably not the best like thing to do. So
Yeah,
because I
you're
know,
pretty
I got like,
knowledgeable.
yeah, I have like technical knowledge mixed with gaming knowledge, so it makes me a good fit for down there.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect fit. And you seem to enjoy it. I actually think that's a really good fit. Um, I do want to do something similar, but I also want to get into something like sales as well as like helping people build computers, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, do you ever do like hardware and software? I'm assuming you do. Like, if something goes wrong on those computers, you have to be able to figure that part out.
yeah, we had a couple. Well, one when we were setting it up, one just its its CPU cooler was just not even mounted to the board.
Oh
And so
dang.
when it was shipping, it like jostled around and completely jacked up the board because it kept hitting it and shipping and stuff like that. So we had to send that back. And then not too recently, one of the computers in there was making a rattling sound, and I was like, okay, I'm guessing something's just stuck in the fans. So
Hmm.
I opened up the case and sprayed um, like compressed air like outward to like try to get it to like come out of the case. Kept making the sound, and I don't know. I knew where to look, and I had a feeling that something was stuck in the power supply. And anyway, my boss like escalated it. Dell came out, and yeah, it was just something stuck in the power supply, and we had that changed out. So I
Yeah.
I guess computer knowledge and like hardware knowledge in that case just expedited the process because I knew like where the problem was, or I had a decent feeling about where the problem was.
Yeah, you were able to kind of like analyze it and get it
Yeah,
down to like certain things that would be the problem. I think that's I think that's a pretty almost essential thing for doing IT work. Something we're gonna have to do a lot of.
yeah, for sure.
Um, so, what advice would you give to someone like starting out in this field, mainly IT?
Um, for like starting out in the major or in the like career job setting.
Um, I guess because I'm starting the major, we can focus more on the major, but I think a job setting would also be useful information.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I can for sure answer the major like related version of that. The careers one probably not as well as someone else could since I've only done internships
Hmm.
like at base level positions. But for the major here at Tech, like I said earlier, it's really heavily focused on mixing business with IT. Like you're gonna have to do a lot of business oriented classes, and it's not gonna be. I didn't have any like hands-on, you know, what like fix this computer type class.
Oh,
It was
really?
yeah,
Okay.
not a single one. Um, it's geared towards um like systems design, learning um how applications and like database systems and stuff like that are like formulated, created, and managed, and then also the really prevalent coding languages within the business setting.
Hmm.
So like Python, SQL, HTML. All right, those are the main ones. Um, but yeah, and then that combining like that coding knowledge with your knowledge of like databases that you'll learn, it's really focused on that type of stuff rather than hands-on hardware fix IT problems like stuff like that.
Dang. So yeah, I guess it is like just heavily based on like business, and then it seems a lot of software rather than hardware.
Yeah, yeah. There was no hardware related
Hmm.
classes that I took. It was all software or systems design, where you formulated how you make this app or program if you were to actually make it.
So I guess kind of similar to the work experience of things. From what you've seen, since you did get a little bit of hands-on experience, you have finished the degree for IT, and you're working where you do now. Do you know like what skills I should start developing now? I know you mentioned a few of the coding languages.
Yeah. Um, just look into those coding languages. At the classes I took, it was really like they started out really base level. So even if you don't have any experience with those coding languages, you'll be fine in the classes. But it doesn't hurt to like you know look up just a little bit of it. But another thing is maybe look into like the systems design process because it's a whole like in my systems design class I wrote like I don't know it was like 150 pages worth of just content relating to like that process
Oh
and
wow.
yeah it was a lot um and so that class like stands out to me as like really daunting if you don't know anything about that process going into it and then honestly like look into stuff like accounting or like statistics or all that stuff because you'll have to do it if you go through tech. You'll have to do like managerial accounting,
Hmm.
financial accounting, all that stuff. So I guess just look into those topics and you'll be fine.
So for your hands-on experience part, I guess since tech offers more of software-based and business-based learning, were you just having to use like your own knowledge of like hardware aspects and then learning stuff on the job there for that internship?
Yeah, like I have like a base level knowledge of like hardware components and how they work. But before I even like went into the uh the degree, and that's kind of why I chose that degree. So going into my internships that focus on that, I didn't really have to learn a whole lot about the like um I don't know like the core level stuff pertaining to that. Like I didn't have to learn what a RAM what RAM was, what a motherboard was.
Hmm.
Like can this motherboard use this CPU? Stuff like that I already knew. It was more at my first internship I had to learn um like how to fix like the computer that the CNC machine ran on and how to like get that computer working with the CNC machine or like to get someone's computer synced up with this really old printer that
Oh
can't
yeah, makes
understand what
sense.
Bluetooth is or stuff like that. Really like obscure things that I won't really do more than once. And then it was also like network related things. Like I installed a bunch of like um Wi-Fi. I forget the term that my boss used back then, but they're basically just like Wi-Fi routers in like a mesh network so that the entire like company like building has consistent Wi-Fi.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
yeah, I think I know
using
what you're talking about.
yeah, and then using tools to like measure the like strength of the signal in certain areas and stuff like that. How to test Ethernet cables, how to route them and see where they go, stuff like that. I had no knowledge of.
I'm surprised we don't actually have to do any of that at tech for an IT major. I mean, you would think some of that hardware, especially for like Ethernet cables and whatnot. Like, I really think we would have to do something on that, but I guess not.
Yeah, I was also kind of surprised. The way I reasoned it is part of the degree plan for IT is like a mandatory internship, and that's why I did that my first internship. It's because it was part of the degree plan.
Hmm.
So I'd imagine that that's part of the degree plan because they know that people will probably learn those skills if they don't already have them at the internship. And like in my opinion, you don't really need a whole semester to learn the stuff that we've been talking about, hardware related stuff. You like if tech offered like a workshop type thing, I think that would suffice. So I just imagine that they assume that people coming into the IT field already have that knowledge, and if they don't, they'll learn a fair bit from the internship. I don't really know. Maybe they really just don't care about that. But that's how I reasoned it.
Yep, fair enough. All right. Well, thank you very much. I can start wrapping up the interview. Thank you so much for all the information. I think that was actually really helpful, and it was nice meeting and talking with you.
Yep, cool, no problem. Good luck with the major
Thank you. Thank
switch.
you.